the life of an immigrant is one of the hardest lives, you know, like deciding to leave your family, your country, what is familiar to you, and living in a country, especially where there is a language barrier,
Yeah.
is one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life.
Same here, and live in your comfort zone, the comfort of your family, your friends, everything that you know,
Yeah.
everything that you grew up knowing.
Yeah.
Leaving all of that behind, searching for a better future,
Yeah.
that is definitely not easy. And I know now that the world is expanding and more people are challenging themselves to
Go abroad.
go abroad.
Immigrate.
A lot of people share these feelings of loneliness, of leaving things behind, of losing friends, and feeling sad. And you, for one, on one hand, you feel blessed about
The
having
opportunity to travel, to go overseas.
and do better. But
Yeah.
on the other hand,
What are you sacrificing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've missed so many milestones back home for friends and for families.
Yeah.
For example, my sister is having kids and I was not there to see them. They don't know me very well because
Yeah.
I am so far away from home and I'm not able to even go back home that often because of my job.
Yep.
It is so sad. At one moment, you're like really proud of yourself for taking on this very brave thing. But another moment, you look back home at the people that you left there and you see that their lives, like, you missed their milestones
Yes.
and they're married and settled.
I
And
missed some marriages from my friends, and also seeing my little brother grow
Yeah.
and my parents get older. That is something that makes me so sad. I've been away
Yeah.
from home like 6 to 7 years now, and last time I went back home,
You've only been back once in those 7 years.
twice.
Okay.
But yeah, like that is not enough, you know.
Yeah.
And last time I left them, they were full of
Life
life
and looking vibrant.
yeah, and this last time I went, they had more
Gray
gray
hair,
hairs, walking
older.
slower.
Oh my
my
God.
God, babe, the way I cried
Yeah.
to that because
Yeah.
I didn't want to accept. And for me, it's like even though we have video calls and we keep in touch,
Yeah.
you're not there
Yeah.
to see it happening. So like.
It is so shocking to you when you see
And
them.
the memory you have is like, oh, they were
Yeah.
younger.
Yeah.
And now you see them again,
Yeah.
and it's like, what happened?
For me, that happened to me as well. I went back in this. I've been away for 6 years, and I went back once. And when I saw my mom and my dad, how old they look, I could. It was so hard for me, and the fear of like, imagine I'm overseas and one of them
Something-
pass away,
yeah.
like, and I'm not there, you know. I'm not there to see them or to enjoy them in their
Yes.
old age. It's so sad, and it's like you left home for better, but still you're missing so much of the good stuff back home, you know.
What are the things that you're sacrificing?
What are the things
Oh
you're
my God.
sacrificing to? And sometimes I feel, was it all
Worth it?
worth it?
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, I am overseas making more money and trying to build a better future, but
And helping them.
yeah, we're
well.
helping our families back home, but that doesn't take away from the fact that you're overseas and you're lonely. You don't have friends. You
No
don't have a lot of
community.
friends. You don't have community. You don't have a strong support system overseas. And that sometimes for me, I wonder, like, oh my God, imagine I get sick over here. Who will take care of me over here?
But babe, yeah, you're right. Like the first time I had a fever, like a really bad fever when I was out of my home, the way I felt so miserable and so sad and having no one to take care of me and having to like get up with fever and all of these like weakness in my body and having to cook
No
for
one.
myself and no one to and I was crying so bad because I was just remembering when my mom used to put the wet towel to lower my fever, and I was like, my God, how I miss those moments. And it was the first time I truly felt miserable because I had no one to take care of me.
It is not easy leaving your country. It is not easy living abroad. It is not easy being by yourself.
Yeah.
It is so challenging for me,
Yeah.
and especially in the beginning phase when you know nothing. We live in China. The language barrier was a
So
serious
big.
thing for us, and not being able to connect with people here because you don't speak their language that much,
And
and
they
you
will always see you as a foreigner. Like no matter if even if
yeah.
you speak the language,
Yeah.
there will
And their
always be.
culture, like you will never deeply understand their culture and why
Yeah.
certain thing resonates with them and why it doesn't with you.
Yeah.
And so you're never really a part of them. You're always like a
Yeah.
foreigner in this country, and then when you go back home, it's like you don't
Feel
fit,
yourself.
you don't fit in because you've changed so much living in this foreign
Yeah.
country, and you go home, you're a different person. And you said it last night, you're like a Frankenstein
Of cultures,
of
because
culture.
yeah, like I went back home and all the food felt salty and like just like strange, because I got used to the way they cook food here, low in salt. And I went back home and everything was just so salty. I was like, I don't know if I like the food from my country as much as I used to, you know?
And then when you're here, you're like, I want to have the
I
food in my
miss, yeah.
So it's a very strange thing. And for me, one of the saddest thing, you know, being 30 is that I feel homeless.
Yeah.
Like I can never, especially in China, maybe in
another
in other
country?
countries, but here in China, I feel so homeless. I can never be a citizen in China. I can never
It is
lay down
hard. Yeah,
any
no.
roots here in China. But at the same time, if I choose to go back home right now, I have to start from zero, you know,
Yeah.
and it feels like I am kind of homeless. I don't own a home in my country,
Same.
you know, and if I go back home, I feel like I am homeless. So now I'm just like living in this weird in between where I'm not, I don't have roots here in China, and I haven't made roots in my own country, and it's just so weird and sad and complicated.
And you just spiral down asking yourself, is all of this worth
yeah.
it? What am I doing? Is this
Yeah.
really worth it? Like, and you said to go back home is not an option. And some people, you know, something that I find so strange is a lot of people back home, they say like, oh my God, you're so brave. You moved all the way across the world. I admire you so much. And that doesn't reach me. Like, I don't feel the praise, because it's like, hey, okay, like, yes, I am living in China, but after 5-6 years, this became my reality. Like, maybe the first month
You don't feel anything special about
I
it.
don't feel anything special
But
about it.
I
And
do believe there is a bravery in doing that.
there is
though,
bravery though.
because it takes a lot to.
Yes, but then, like, I don't feel it. Because it became my daily routine, you know? Like, I don't feel, and I know, like, I know my father, when he talks about me, like, yes, my daughter is in China, wow, and people is like, wow, so brave. I don't feel brave
Do you
anymore.
think it's because you haven't had any major accomplishments while living in China?
That is another of the reasons, because
Some people, they say, like, I remember when some of my friends, they heard that I am in China, they're like, oh my God, you need to start business. You need to do this. You need to do that. You know, and I don't have any of that.
Yeah.
I don't have any business. I don't have any trading commodity business. Like people expected that you're in China, this is what you should be doing. I don't have any of that. I don't have any major accomplishments from living in China, other than working here, earning money, taking care of, you know, my family.
Our
but
family.
like I still don't own a home. I still don't
Same.
have a family here. Nothing
Same.
that has me rooted here.
Or to prove that we did good all these
like
years.
in the 6 years, what have I, you know, like accomplished to say, oh my God, wow, amazing, you know? And so that is kind of like, was it all worth it? You know, it kind of makes me feel sad. And this is the life of an immigrant trying to find a better life. When you come from a developing country, a poor country, you know, you leave in search of a better life. But the sacrifices, the times that you're home alone, crying, not having your friends, not having family, losing friends back home, having nothing, going to the hospital and feeling hopeless because you can't properly explain what is wrong with you.
Yeah.
It's it's a lot, you know. It's not so easy migrating.
And that thing that you say, like losing friends, it happens. It usually happens because you do keep in contact with some of them, but they just continue living life, and no one is waiting for you.
Yeah.
You know, like you move, you do your stuff, and the world doesn't stop
Yeah.
for us.
And no one would know how many times you cry alone
Yes.
over here with
Yeah.
no one. You know, it's really challenging when you're in search of a better life, but you make such big sacrifice, you know.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
I think just time will tell if it was all worth
Yeah.
it.
And so right now I don't know if it was worth it, you know, but we have to keep going, literally.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we have to keep going.
I think that's what keeps us going, like the hope for a better future. That's why we cross the world, basically, like
Yeah.
looking for a better future.
For a better
but
future.
definitely
And I know we're
easy.
not the only ones who are coming from developing
No.
countries who
Moving
left
away.
their home in search of better life. And if you're feeling lonely and you're feeling like you're questioning, what the hell am I doing? Why did I even do this? You know, you're not the only one.
Yeah.
There are a lot of us out there, and I want to tell you
A
that
lot.
I find bravery in it.
Yeah, it is definitely something brave.
Yeah.
Not and also not easy. And it's okay to feel bad some days.
Yeah.
When you're lonely in your bed,
Yeah.
hugging yourself, asking if it's okay.
Yeah.
And if it will be okay. Because some days you don't see the sun.
Yeah. It's the life of an immigrant.